National Weather Service is still working to assess the damage caused by the devastating storm.
Chief Meteorologist Doppler Dave Oliver spoke with NWS officials on the progress they're making.
The official National Weather Service damage survey, what do you guys find?
Obviously a lot of destruction, and hearts go out to the people of Perryton, obviously, with the lives lost and the injured. But just, old downtown, historic downtown buildings that have crumbled, and then, now we're in a section of town with some trailer areas and some homes with significant damage here as well. So definitely, finding a pretty good amount of damage in Perryton.
Okay, and I know it's real preliminary. You got a lot of things to look at, but just from what you've seen so far today, how are we doing on the EF intensity scale?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing, we don't know what the final rating will be. We're pretty confident we're seeing a lot of evidence of high, kind of EF2, but we'll have to go back and really kind of sift through that and come up with a final rating. But we're pretty comfortable that we're seeing that, and we'll kind of look at everything a little bit closer when we get back to the office, and or after we get a sense of everything and get back with our other team that's going the other direction too. Sure. But certainly seeing something along those lines.
Yeah, lots to look at, and if nothing else, it was a devastating event here in Perryton. Doppler Dave for News Channel 10.
Well, the tornado that ripped through Main Street in Perryton last night caused significant damage.
Panhandle agencies are currently on site aiding the community. News Channel 10's Kylie Frazier is in Perryton talking with responding agencies and has an update on what's going on in the community.
Well, I've been at the Ochiltree County Sheriff's Office all day, which is now doubling as a command center. The Office of Emergency Management is working with the local sheriff's office as well as other area agencies to aid those who were impacted by last night's tornado. We do know that Texas Emergency Services as well as Texas A&M Search and Rescue is out here looking at all the damage and trying to figure out what the next steps are going to be in this situation. Now, I was able to talk with XL and we have an update. There are now around 2,500 residents without power, and if you were with us at 5, you know that number was about 3,500. Some of those residents are still working to get power, and they're working to do that to the residents that are outside of that major damage zone. Now, I was able to talk with Wes Reeves from XL Energy, who told me that the most important thing right now is the safety of the Perryton community. Now, there's a lot of down power lines out there, and if you've been following us along on this story, you know that the devastation and the destruction is just absolutely terrible. The Office of Emergency Management is asking that if you would like to give any monetary donations to the city of Perryton, that you take that to First Bank Southwest in Booker, as theirs was destroyed last night by the tornado. As always, I'll be here feeding you the latest information as we get it. Live in Perryton, Kylie Frazier, News Channel 10.
All right, Kylie, thank you. Companies around the Texas Panhandle are working to provide Wi-Fi and additional resources to the city. T-Mobile's community support team is bringing supplies to Perryton. Emergency response vehicles will offer free Wi-Fi, offer free charging stations and charging cables. A temporary internet hotspot has been set up at the Ranger and Rangerette gyms. It's open to the public. T-Mobile is currently working to have services at the United Supermarket and high school parking lot as well.
Coffee Memorial Blood Center says hospitals treating victims of the tornado have requested blood donations. The center says there is a need for type O blood as hospitals prepare for surgeries. At this time, Coffee Memorial has activated the Blood Emergency Readiness Corps to request donations. If you would like to give blood, call the number on your screen.
Volunteer organizations active in disaster serving the Texas Panhandle set up an official account for donations for Perryton. At this time, financial donations are accepted at any First Bank Southwest location in Amarillo, Perryton, Booker, Pampa, or Hereford. You can visit the branch in person or call to make your donation. If you are asked to state your name and everything else that goes along with this, your donation is to benefit the survivors of the Perryton tornado.
Volunteers with Southern Baptist of Texas Convention Disaster Relief also in that town. The ministry has a mobile kitchen unit to provide thousands of hot meals. Cleanup crews, including chainsaw teams, are ready as needed.
The Hansford County Hospital District says members of its health care team responded in Perryton. The Hansford County Hospital took in 16 patients and will continue to provide aid as needed.
Texas House Representative For Price also making a statement on Facebook on the tornado in Perryton. He says he has spoken to the mayor, the Texas Division of Emergency Management, and Governor Abbott's office, and resources are being mobilized. TDEM will be assisting in search and rescue and medical operations. He has also asked residents to keep Perryton in your prayers. And our first alert storm team followed the storm very intensely since the moment it started to form.
Yes, and it did form, didn't it, Sheldon? You were out in this. You were in the with the storm chasers last evening, and I would imagine seeing this unfold before your very eyes had to be quite unbelievable.
I mean, it really was. I mean, everything from seeing the storm actually, progress through the city of Perryton and then seeing the damage afterwards. I mean, it's just really hard to put into words for sure. And we actually drove through Perryton shortly before this storm actually passed through town. That's what some of this video here is. We passed through town just a little bit before it happened. We got ourselves northeast of Perryton. This is when the tornado started to form. This was right before it touched down. This is when the first tornado warning was issued. This is on the northwest side of Perryton. We started running kind of parallel to it. This is us moving towards the south. Video's a little bit shaky there as we were going down a dirt road, but you can see the debris cloud on the ground. This is more than likely as the tornado was making its way through the town of Perryton, doing all of that destruction that we have been seeing. So we're following it here, but you can see all that rain really bringing that visibility down, made it very hard to see. This was our view of it. You can imagine just how much harder it was to see closer to that storm. This is us once we got back on Highway 15, working our way back towards Perryton. We got kind of stuck in the core of this storm, saw baseball, golf ball sized hail, did a little bit of damage to our weather atlas. You could see those hailstones hitting the pavement there. This was us trying to get through the core, trying to get back into Perryton. We did hear a report of damage, so we wanted to get into town as fast as possible to see and assess that damage and, of course, render aid where we could. So as we made our way back into Perryton here, this is us making our way towards the 15 and 83 junction. You could still see that tornado. Now, south of town, it's taken on a bit of a different shape, not rain wrapped anymore, but you can see that funnel. You can see the debris cloud on the ground as it makes its way south out of town. This storm did spawn a few more tornadoes. I know Kevin Sully keeping an eye on those local storm reports, but this was our view of it. Not sure if this is the same tornado or another one that actually happened to touch down. We've been seeing lots of videos and pictures. This was as the storm was starting to dissipate. You can see where that funnel comes out of the cloud. You can still see that dust on the ground. That does indicate that is a tornado still on the ground in progress, but this thankfully was as it made its way out of Perryton and then kind of dissipated, and the severe threat for Perryton was over very quickly after that, but it definitely did a lot of damage first.
Yeah, now when you guys realized that Perryton took a direct hit and you guys rolled right up to the damage, I mean, right after the storm went through, what were your thoughts? I mean,
your heart just sinks when you see that happen, because we see the tornado, and of course, us, storm chasers, we love following this extreme weather, but when you see it go through a town, I mean, it's absolutely heartbreaking to see that happen. Like I said, we heard some damage reports, so we made our way into town, wanted to see. We got there right into town, saw a lot of the damage that just occurred. We actually lent our phone to one person who was calling 911 because we were there just simply minutes after it happened, and so, definitely praying for the people of Perryton. Heartbreaking for sure, and you roll into town, you start to see that first bit of damage, your stomach just, your heart's in your stomach for sure, and then we went through town and just saw that it only got worse.
You talked about the tornado being rain wrapped at one particular point, and it's difficult to see. Was there ever a time when you guys inside that car ever felt you were in danger? Because we were able to kind of watch behind the scenes here during the course of Doppler Dave and Kevin and you guys doing what you were doing. Was there ever a time that you ever felt like you were in danger, or were you able to kind of skirt around it enough?
I mean, we were to skirt around it to an extent. Now, that video you saw when we were kind of in the core of it, what we did at that point is we actually took our car and pointed it into the wind, because in those times where you get what we call the wind field of the possible tornado, like I said, we couldn't just see where it was. But when you get those really stout winds, the last thing you want is them hitting the side of the vehicle. That's when you get into rollovers and situations like that. So definitely not the scariest situation I've ever been in terms of actually in the core of the storm, but having to point it in the wind like that, I mean, you got to take every precaution you can to keep yourself safe in the process.
Yeah, you had quite the hailstorm last year around Hereford.
Down in Hereford. Not as much damage done to our storm chase vehicle this time, but still cracked the windshield on a weather atlas.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Sheldon, great job. You guys storm chasing really did a terrific job for everybody yesterday.
We appreciate it.
And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.